Question 1. How many centimeters are there in 3.7 meters? Circle your answer. To convert 3.7 meters into centimeters, we know that there are 100 centimeters in 1 meter, so we multiply 3.7 meters by 100, which gives us 370 centimeters. Question 2. Which of these is the net of a cube? Circle the correct answer. We can try to fold these up, as it were, to see which one can be arranged as a cube. And in this case, if you try to fold this one up, we find that this side and this side both overlap. Since we only have 6 sides here, and 2 of them overlap, this one can't be a cube. We can do the same for the rest of them. In this case, this side here and this side here overlap. In this case, this one and this one overlap. The only one left is C, which does fold up into a cube, and that's our answer. Question 3. Circle the fraction that is not equivalent to 3/8 for 1 mark. 3/8 is a fully simplified fraction, so if we take each of these fractions in turn and simplify them, we'll find one that isn't equivalent to 3/8, and that'll be our answer. So for example, 6/16, we can divide both the top and bottom to get 3/8 by dividing by 2. Same thing we can do here. We can divide by 3 to get 3/8, and we can divide by 4. 12 divided by 4 is 3. 32 divided by 4 is 8 to get 3/8. Just double check this one to make sure we haven't got it wrong somewhere, but 15 divided by 5 is 3, and 37 divided by 5 is 7. But this one is incorrect, which is our answer. Question 4. Simplify 5a minus 2a plus 6. Circle your answer. The thing we have to remember here is we've got this negative in front of the bracket. What this is a coefficient of -1 that just isn't written. So we need to expand this bracket. We'll have 5a. We have -1 multiplied by 2a. That's minus 2a. And -1 multiplied by positive 6, which is -6. The next step is we need to collect up terms. We've got 2 terms here that include a. So 5a take away 2a, that's simply 3a. And then we've just got -6 and no other numbers, so that's -6. 3a minus 6. Question 5. Complete the table. We know here that 1 hour is 60 minutes. So what's 40 minutes? Well, 40 minutes as a fraction of an hour is 40/60, which we can then simplify to 2/3. So 40 minutes is 2/3 of an hour. So that's our answer here. We need to know what 2 1/4 hours is in minutes. So 2 1/4 times 60 minutes per hour will equal 2 lots of 60 plus a quarter lot of 60. So 2 times 60 is 120, and a quarter of 60, that's just 60 divided by 4, is 15. That's 135. Question 6. Here are some numbers. Write the numbers in pairs so that the sum of the numbers in each pair is the same for 2 marks. First thing that's useful to do in this case is to write the numbers in order. So we'll start with 7.6, 9.6, 12.4, 12.6, 15.4, and 17.4. The reason we do this is if we want to add 2 numbers in pairs, the easiest way to do it to make sure that our answer is similar for all 3 pairs that we create is to add the smallest and the largest each time. For example, 7.6 plus 17.4 is 25. And that's these 2 taken care of. The next thing we can do is we'll take the second smallest and the second largest and add those up to check that that adds to the same number. So 9.6 plus 15.4, which is 25 again. And finally, these 2, 12.4 plus 12.6 is 25. So our pairs are such, we have 7.6 and 17.4. We have 9.6 and 15.4. And finally, we have 12.6 and 12.4. Question 7. This triangle is drawn accurately. What type of triangle is it? Tick 2 boxes. So let's go through the list. An acute-angled triangle has all of its angles as an acute angle, i.e. all of them are less than 90 degrees, which is the case here. All three are less than 90 degrees, so we can tick that one. An obtuse angled triangle has at least one obtuse angle. That's an angle that's between 90 degrees and 180. So this will be an obtuse angle. Of course, that isn't in this triangle, so we can't click this one. An equilateral triangle, all three angles are the same size and 60 degrees, but clearly this angle is smaller than these two angles, so it's not equilateral. In an isosceles triangle, two angles are exactly the same, which is what we have here. We have two angles, the base angles here, and these two sides that are the same length. We've got the markings here to denote that. So this is an isosceles triangle. So we've got our two there. It's not a scalene triangle because a scalene has all three sides and angles different, and we can see that these two sides are the same and these two angles are the same. Question 8. Work out 51% of 400. In order to do this, it's useful to find percentages that we know and go from there. So for example, 50% of 400 is quite easy. We divide 400 by half to get multiply by half to get 50%. So 400 times a half, that's 200. And if we want 1% of any number, we need to divide by 100. So 400 divided by 100, that's 4. And we can now just add these two together. So 51% of 400 is the sum of 50% and 1%, which is 204. Question 9. Write 180 grams as a fraction of 3 kilograms. Give your answer in its simplest form for 2 marks. We know that 3 kilograms has to be equivalent to 3,000 grams, since 1 kilogram is 1,000 grams. If we want it as a fraction of 3 kilograms, we write 180 over 3,000 grams. We couldn't have done this if it was 3 kilograms. We need them both in the same units first, which they are now, grams and grams. Let's do some simplifications. So an easy one straight away, we can divide by 10 to get 18 on the top and 300 on the bottom. We notice that 18 is divisible by 3, and so is 300. So 18 divided by 3 is 6, and 300 divided by 3 is 100. And both of these are even, so we can divide by 2. So we get 3 over 50 as our final answer. Question 10. Here are some properties of numbers. Which two properties does the number 4 have? Circle the correct letters for 1 mark. So 4 is divisible by 2, so it's even. It can't be odd because it's even. A prime number is a number that only has 2 factors, 1 and itself, and 4 has more factors than that. A square number is a number that is a single number multiplied by itself to get the square number, and that's what we have in this case. 2 times 2 is 4. So we have A and D. Question 10b. Can one number have all of the properties? We did touch on this before, so we said that 4 could not be even and odd, because a number is either even or odd, so a number can't have all the properties, no. And that's our reason. It cannot be even and odd. Question 10c. Write down a number with 3 of the properties. So the properties we're going to select here, the number can't be both even and odd, and also most of our square numbers, well, all of our square numbers cannot be prime. So we're going to eliminate square numbers, and we're going to eliminate even numbers, because these 3 are the 3 that are most easy to achieve. Let's write down our first few prime numbers to figure this out. So we have 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17. So we need one that's odd, so 2 is out, and it needs to be prime. These are all prime and 2-digit. So we could have 11, for example. And we need to state which properties it has. Simply we would write 11 and then these 3 properties, B, C, and E. Question 11. Ranjit has 6 coins in his pocket. If he picks 5 of the coins, the most he could pick is £4.60. The least he could pick is £2.70. How much money does he have altogether? First, let's find the difference between these two. £12.60 minus £2.70. And that's £1.90. If he's going to pick £4.60, he has to pick a £2 coin. Because if he didn't have a £2 coin, that would be 4 £1 coins and then 60p left over, which he can't achieve in a single coin. So if he picks a £2 coin in the £4.60 pick, we can look at the difference here and see what it must have been swapped for. The £2 coin, take away the difference, is 10p. So he must have swapped his £2 coin for a 10p piece when he picked £2.70. That means he must have a 10p piece left in his pocket. He has 6 coins in his pocket and he chose 5. So in total, he has £4.70 plus the leftover 10p, which equals £4.60, sorry, £4.60 plus the 10p is £4.70. Question 12. Here are 3 expressions. When a equals 2 and b equals -6, which expression has the smallest value? You must show your working. So, for b over a, we have -6 over 3 is -6 divided by 3, which is -2. For a minus b, we have 2 subtract -6. We need to be careful with our negative signs here. 2 subtract a negative is the same as adding. That's 2 plus 6, which is 8. And finally, b is a multiplied by b. So this is 2 times -6. We have a positive multiplied by a negative, so it'll be negative. And we have 2 times 6, which is 12. The smallest number here is this one. So the smallest expression is AB. Question 13. The table shows the ratio of teachers to children needed for 2 activities. There are 7 teachers to take children climbing. What is the greatest number of children that can go climbing? First we start with the ratio here. Teachers to children is 1 to 4. If we know that there are 7 teachers, we've multiplied the ratio on this side by 7. So we'll need to do the same on this side to work out the number of children. 4 times 7 is 28. So 28 children can go climbing. 13b. 49 children want to go walking. What is the smallest number of teachers needed? Again, we start with the ratio 1 to 9. And then we need to consider what multiples of this ratio get us close to 49 children. We can't multiply by a full whole number this time because 49 is not a multiple of 9. So, let's multiply by 5 first. So on this side we've got 5, and 9 times 5 is 45. That's 5 teachers for 45 children. But that's not enough for us. We need 49 children. Let's think about multiplying by the next highest number. So 1 times 6. So if we have 6 teachers, we multiply 9 by 6, which is 54 children. So 6 teachers will be enough for 54 children to go walking, which is correct for us. We can't have a lower number of teachers because 5 teachers can only take 45 children. Our answer is 6. Question 14. Shape R is a rectangle. A smaller rectangle is cut from R to form shape L. Which one of these statements is true? These are all statements on whether the perimeter gets longer or shorter. So in this case, when this rectangle is removed from L here, we know that this side and this side are both the same length, and we know that these two are equivalent lengths as well. So if we're adding up the perimeter of R, we would go this plus this plus this plus this plus this plus this. Similarly for L, these sides here, 1, 2, 3, 4, are the same as on R. And this side is equivalent to this side, and this side is equivalent to this side. So the perimeter doesn't actually change because this is equivalent to the region here that was cut away, and this is equivalent to the region here that was cut away. So the perimeter of R is the same as the perimeter of L. Question 15. Textbooks are stored on 2 shelves. Each shelf is 0.72 meters long, and each textbook is 30 millimeters wide. Can 50 textbooks be stored on these shelves? You must show your working. So if we had these both in the same units, we could take the length of the shelf and then divide by the length of a textbook to see how many textbooks could be stored. So we need to convert both these into the same units. The easiest way to do this is convert 0.72 meters into millimeters. So we know 0.72 meters is the same as 72 centimeters. All we have to do is multiply by 100 to get that, which is equivalent to 720 millimeters, since there are 10 millimeters in a centimeter. Next, we take 720 millimeters and divide it by the size of a textbook. This is a bit more complicated, but we notice here that this has a factor of 10 and a factor of 10, so we can simplify that to 72 over 3. 72 divided by 3 is 24. So we can fit 24 books on each shelf. We know that there are 2 shelves, 24 times 2, so 48 books can be stored on the 2 shelves. So, can 50 be stored on the 2 shelves? No. Question 16. All tickets for a concert are the same price. Amy and Dan pay £63 altogether for some tickets. Amy pays £24.50 for 7 tickets. How many tickets does Dan buy? First, we need to know the price of 1 ticket, and we can work that out from the price that Amy has paid. If we take £24.50 and divide it by 7, we'll get the price of a ticket. We can do that using short division, so 7 into 24.5. 7's into 2, it doesn't go. 7's into 24, that's 3, goes 21. And we have 3 remaining here. To put a decimal point in, 7's into 35 is 5. So 1 ticket costs £3.50. Now we need to know how much Dan paid. So Amy and Dan both paid 63 in total, and if we take off the amount that Amy paid, £24.50, that means Dan must have paid £38.50. Next, let's divide the £38.50 by the ticket price, which is £3.50. This is a bit more of a difficult division, but we can write this as the same as 385 divided by 35. What I've done is I've multiplied both numbers by 10. That makes sure that the answer is still the same because we've done the equivalent thing to both, but this is a bit more of an easy division. So let's use our division again. 35's into 385. 35 doesn't go into 3, but it does go into 38 once, with a remainder of 3, and 35's into 35 are 1. So Dan bought 11 tickets. Question 17. Here is the graph of y equals 5 minus x for values of x from 0 to 5. On the same grid, draw the graph of y equals x plus 1 for values of x from 0 to 5. First thing we need to do is to find 2 points, and then we can join those up to form our straight line. So if we say, if x equals 0, then our y value is 0 plus 1 from the equation here, which is 1. So we can plot the point 0, 1, which is there. Next, let's put in another point. For example, if x equals 2, then y equals 3 in the same way. So we can plot 2, 3. Let's put another point in there just to be sure. If x is 5, then y is 6, so we can have 5, 6. So I'll plot 5, 6. And then we need to join those up with a straight line. 17b. Use the graph to solve the simultaneous equations y equals 5 minus x and y equals x plus 1. These are the 2 graphs that we've already plotted. This was already plotted for us, and we plotted this one ourselves. So we just need to look at where the lines cross. And clearly they cross here at x is 2 and y is 3. So our answer is the point 2, 3. Question 18. The table shows the sales of food and drink for 3 days at a market stall. Hannah uses this information to draw a composite bar chart. Write down 3 different mistakes that she has made. So the first mistake we notice is that we don't actually know which bar is which. If we look at the data, we can tell, but if we didn't have the data, we wouldn't know which bar represents food and which bar represents drink. So the first thing that she hasn't mentioned is there's no key. The second one, if we have a look at the data here, we notice that the sales of food and drink on Friday should add up to 70. However, top bar here only goes up to what looks like 48. So this should be all the way up here. So Friday is plotted incorrectly. Our third point is we just need to check over the rest of the data. And if we notice here, there should be £46 of food on Saturday and £28 of drink on Saturday. From the other ones, it seems like she's plotted sales of food as the bottom bar here. However, if you look at the bar here for Saturday, that's £28, which is sales of drink, and £46, which is sales of food. These two have been plotted the wrong way around. So, Saturday, the bars are the wrong way around. Question 19. Sam wants to buy a camera for £345. He has already saved £96. Each week his pay is £80 and he saves 30% of his pay. For how many more weeks must he save? Let's figure out how much money he needs to get already. So, £345, take away the £96, means he needs to save another £249 more. And each week he saves 30% of his pay. So we want 30% of 80. Let's start by working out 10% of 80. So 10% of 80 is 80 divided by 10, which is 8. So 30% of that is 8 times 3, which is £24. He saves £24 per week. Let's take the total amount that he needs, 249, and divide it by the amount he saves per week, and that'll tell us how many weeks are required. That's a bit more difficult, so we need to first use our division. 24 into 2, 4, 9. 24s into 2 don't go, but 24s into 24 goes once. There's no remainder, so 24 into 9 doesn't go, and we'll carry over the 9 to here. 24s into 90 goes 3 times, and we'll stop there. This will be a decimal that goes on. So, it'll take 10.3 weeks. However, we need to know whole number of weeks, so it's going to take the full 11 weeks. We round that up. 20a. W and x are whole numbers. W is greater than 40 and x is less than 30. Work out the smallest possible value of w minus x. If you want this to be as small as possible, we need the first value to be the smallest value it can be, and the next value to be the largest value it can be, because we're taking it away. The smallest possible value of w is 41, and the largest possible value of x, if x is less than 30, the largest possible value is 29. So 41 take 29 is 12. Question 20b. Y and z are whole numbers. Y is less than 60 and z is less than or equal to 50. Work out the largest possible value of y plus z. If you want this to be as large as possible, you need the largest possible value of y, which is 59. It can't be 60 because its y is strictly less than 60. And the largest possible value of z, which is 50, because it is less than or equal to 50. We want y plus z, we just need to add these two up, so that's 109. Question 21a. Work out 2.4 times 0.002. For these kind of questions, it's useful to first write it as a whole number, so 24 times 2. To do this, we've had to multiply 2.4 by 10 to get 24, and we've had to multiply 0.002 by 1, 2, 3, so 1000 to get to 2. 24 times 2 is 48, and now we've got to undo what we did here. So this is a multiplication by 10,000, so we need to divide by 10,000. And that gives us an answer of 0.0048. We've had to move the decimal point back from here, 1, 2, 3, 4 places for the 4 zeros in 10,000. Question 21b. Write 1.2 times 10 to the minus 5 as an ordinary number. So, that's 1.2 divided by whatever 10 to the minus 5 is, which is 100,000. We need to move the decimal point back, and we get 0.000012. We've moved the decimal point from here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places. 21c. Write 2,500,000 in standard form. First thing we need to do is to write this as 2.5 times the factors of 10, which is a million. 2.5 million, which is what that is. We need to now convert this into a factor of 10. We've got 2.5 times 10 to the 6. This is 10 multiplied by 10 6 times. Question 22. The diagram shows information about the scores of Class 3A in a spelling test. A student is chosen randomly from Class 3A, and we need to work out the probability that the student's score was the mode for the class. The mode is the score that was achieved most often, which in this case we can see as 8, it has the highest bar. 9 students achieved that out of the total of the class, so we need to add these up. We have 9 plus 7, that's 16, plus 6, which is 22, plus 3, which is 25, and plus 2, which is 27 total students. So the probability is that 9, they got the mode, over the total of 27, which we can simplify down to a third. The chance is a third that student's score was the mode. 22b. The diagram shows information about the scores of Class 3b in the same test. Show that Class 3a had more consistent scores than Class 3b. For consistency, we're looking at the range of data. So for example, in Class 3a, the highest score was 8, and the lowest score was 4. So the range of the data is 4. In Class 3b, the highest score was 8, and the lowest score was 3. So the range of the data is 5. Since the range for Class 3b is higher than the range for Class 3a, that means Class 3a are more consistent, which is what we were asked. So, by comparing these two ranges, we can see that Class 3a have more consistent scores. 22c. Lucy is one of the 29 students in Class 3b. Her score was the same as the median score for her class. Work out her score. To calculate the median value, we need to take the number of students, 29, add 1 and divide by 2 to figure out which place that is. So that's the 15th place. Now we'll count up through the data to figure out which of these groupings the 15th student is in. So we've got 2 students here. In total here we've got 4 students from the 2 and 2, and 8 students by this point, and 15 students by the point at the end of the 6th one. So the 15th value is in this group, so her score is 6. Question 23. Kelly is trying to work out the two values of w for which 3w minus w cubed equals 2. Her values are 1 and -1. Are her values correct? You must show you're working. These kind of ones we can take this side of the equation, substitute in the two values, and see if we get 2 as the answer. If we get 2 as the answer, then she's correct. If not, she was incorrect. Let's try it for 1. So 3 times 1 minus 1 cubed. So 3 times 1 is 3, and 1 cubed is 1. So that's 3 take away 1, which equals 2. That value is correct. Do the same for -1. 3 times -1 take away -1 cubed. 3 times -1 is -3, and -1 cubed is -1. So -1 take away -1, -3 take away -1. Taking away a negative is the same as adding, so that's +1, which equals -2. So That's not equal to 2, so this value is clearly incorrect. And that's it. Question 24. The diagram shows a semicircle of radius 8 centimeters. Work out the area of the semicircle. Give your answer in terms of pi. If you want the area of a semicircle, first we need to know the area of a circle, which is pi r squared. Let's calculate the area of the full circle. So that would be pi times the radius, which is 8 centimeters, squared, and we could write that as 64 pi without needing to calculate. If we want the area of a semicircle, that's half of the area of a circle. So we take 64 pi and divide that by 2, which is 32 pi centimeters squared. We're leaving our answer in terms of pi, so that's fine for now. Question 25. Work out 2 3/4 multiplied by 1 5/7. Give your answer as a mixed number in its simplest form. For questions with mixed numbers, it's often easiest to convert them both into top-heavy fractions first and then do the calculation. So 2 3/4 is the same as 11 over 4, and 1 5/7 is the same as 12 over 7. So let's now do the calculation. 11 over 4 multiplied by 12 over 7. 11 times 12 is 132, and 4 times 7 is 28. Now let's simplify the fraction before going further. Both of these can be divided by 4, get 33 over 7. Let's convert this back into a mixed number. So 33 divided by 7 is 4, with a remainder of 5. So we have 4 and 5/7. Question 26. Solve 5x minus 2 is greater than 3x plus 11. So the first step we need to do is to move over this plus 2. So to get rid of this negative 2, we need to add 2 to both sides. 5x take away 2. If we add 2 to this side, we're going to get 5x. And 3x plus 11, if we add 2 to this side, we'll get plus 13, 11 plus 2. The next step, let's take away 3x. 5x take away 3x is 2x, and 3x take away 3x is 0, so we'll just be left with 13 on this side. Now, let's divide by this 2 to leave us with x. 2x divided by 2 is x, and 13 divided by 2 is 6.5. Our solution, x is greater than 6.5. Question 27. The nth term of a sequence is 2n plus 1, and the nth term of a different sequence is 3n minus 1. We need to work out the three numbers that are in both sequences and between 20 and 40. The easiest way to do this is to just generate both sequences. So the first number in 2n plus 1 that is between 20 and 40 is 21, and then the rest of the sequence goes up in 2s. So 23, 25, 27, 29, 31, 33, 35, 37, and 39. In the sequence 3n minus 1, the first number that is between 20 and 40 is 20, and this sequence goes up in 3. So 23, 26, 29, 32, 35, 38. We just need to look at the numbers that are in both sequences here. So we have 23, we also have 29, and we also have 35. And there are three answers: 23, 29, and 35. Question 28. White paint costs £2.80 per litre and blue paint costs £3.50 per litre. White paint and blue paint are mixed in the ratio 3 to 2. Work out the cost of 18 litres of the mixture. First, let's write out the ratio. White to blue is 3 to 2. We want the cost of 18 litres of the mixture. I'm going to add a total column here to the ratio. So, if we want 18 litres of the mixture, we need to work out the ratio for 18 litres. In this case, we have a total of 5 units. And we need to work out what we've multiplied by to get from 5 to 18. So to do that, we'll divide 18 by 5. So 5's into 18, go 3 times, with a remainder of 3, That's 3.6. We need to multiply 3 and 2 by 3.6. So 3 times 3.6 is 10.8 litres, and 2 times 3.6 is 7.2 litres. We need to work out the cost of 10.8 litres of white paint and 7.2 litres of blue paint. In order to do, let's do that for white paint first. So 10.8 litres multiplied by £2.80. We're going to rewrite this calculation to make it a little bit easier. 108 times 28, we've multiplied this by 10 and this by 10, which means we've multiplied by 100. So we're going to have to divide by 100 after the calculation. So 108 multiplied by 28, we can do that using the grid method. 108 and multiplied by 20 and 8. So 100 times 20, that's 2000. 20 times 8 is 160. 100 times 8 is 800. And 8 times 6 is 64. If we add all of these up, we get 3024. And then we need to divide that by 100. Just as we said before, that's £30.24. If we do the same for blue, we get 7.2 times 3.5, which we're going to rewrite again as a calculation with whole numbers, so 72 times 35 divided by 100. We have 70 and 35. So 70 times 30 is 2100. 30 times 2 is 60. 70 times 5 is 350. And 5 times 2 is 10, which gives us a total of 2,520. We need to divide by 100 again, which equals 25 times 20. Finally, we just need to add up these two costs, so we have £30.24 plus £25.20, which is 4,455, so £55.44. Question 29. Here are sketches of 4 triangles. In each triangle, the longest side is exactly 1 centimetre, and the other length is given to 2 decimal places. Circle the value of cos 50 to 2 decimal places. If we were to find the value of cos, we'd need the adjacent side and a hypotenuse in a right-angled triangle. Both of these are not right-angled triangles, so we can eliminate those immediately. And then we need to label the sides on these. This is the hypotenuse and the adjacent related to the angle of 50 degrees, and this is the hypotenuse and the opposite. We need to use this triangle. In this case, cos of 50, the adjacent 0.64, divided by 1, so that's just going to be 0.64. Question 29b. Work out the value of x. Give your answer to 1 decimal place. So again, we'll use cosine, and we need to label both of the sides. This is the adjacent side, and this is the hypotenuse. We can write out cos 50 is the adjacent x, divided by the hypotenuse of 4, so x is 4 times cos 50. We can use our value of cos 50 from the previous question, 4 times 0.64, which gives us 2.6 for 1 decimal place as requested. Question 30. We have a square, a rectangle, and another square, which are joined to form an L shape. Show that the total area of the L shape in centimeters squared is x squared plus 9x plus 24. Let's write in a few of these lengths. So we know that this has to be x plus 3, since this is a square, and that's one of the side lengths, and this also has to be 3 here, because we have a square. The other side here must be 3, it's the same length as DE, and this has to be x plus 3 here too. Let's label these A, B, and C. So the area of A is x plus 3 multiplied by the other side x plus 3. To calculate this we need to expand, so we have x times x, which is x squared, x times positive 3, which is positive 3x, 3 times x, 3x, and 3 times 3, which is 9. So from A we have x squared plus 6x plus 9. From B, we have 3 multiplied by the other side, x plus 3. We just need to expand this normally. 3 times x is 3x, and 3 times 3 is 9. For shape C, we simply have 3 times 3, which is 9. Now let's add all of those up. So we have x squared plus 6x, 9, plus 3x plus 9, and plus another 9. 9 plus 9 plus 9 is 27. 6x plus 3x is 9x. And we just have an x squared there. And that's our answer as expected.